Hi. Cybersecurity risk assessment is a foundational step to every organization's cybersecurity risk program. It is a systematic way to evaluate the threats against your organization. Here today, I'm going to talk about a few steps that you should consider for your risk assessment program. First, the cybersecurity assessment should cover all aspects of your organization information technology systems. So your IT systems, such as hardware, software, networks, and data. And here's the thing. Hardware is the area that we most miss or just don't pay attention that often. And you have in your organization hardware that passed its lifetime. So EOL, so end of lifetime, end of that life cycle that you need to replace. Because that old hardware, the software gets affected as well because you cannot upgrade to the latest and greatest. So you will be able to catch hardware out of life by scanning the software and trying to upgrade the software. You find out that the business owner, the product owner will say it's not possible because of the hardware won't support it. So, but you need to make sure that the hardware is also part of the scope of your assessment. Most of our assessment is scanning the software, operating system, and so forth. Hardware is also a key element for you to evaluate on your program. So the first is conducting a cybersecurity assessment, is identifying these assets that needs to be protected. And it's starting with the crown jewels of your organization. Those are the primary ones that you make sure that you have all the vulnerabilities identified and taken care of. Once again, you've been hearing me saying that patching everything is not a great goal. However, for these crown jewels, I would say that you should consider eliminating all the vulnerabilities because that is what is stored the most critical information to your organization that supports the mission, the vision, and the products and services you provide to your customers and shareholders. So the goal of patching everything on that one, I would sure to say, should apply. Understanding that the threats that are available on your critical system, phishing, malware, and other type of scams that would be a threat to those crown jewel systems to your organization or any systems for that matter, should be addressed, should be considered part of your assessment. Now, establishing a way, identifying all the threats is kind of consuming because there are many out there, including the ones that you're perhaps not aware of that will come up in the next few years. So how you address these hundreds and thousands of different threats against your systems. One way, there's two thought camps out there. One is, yes, identify the threats. What are you going to do for malware? What are you going to do for phishing? And put strategies around it, of those threats and how to protect them in case they realize. The other thought camp is to address the impact or the consequences of these type of attacks. For example, putting protections in place against degradation of systems, meaning performance. What happens if one of these threats impacts performance of your critical systems that support your mission? What protections can you put in place? What mechanisms to alert you and monitoring for performance degradation you have in place? That one to consider. The other one is interruption, basically affecting the availability. What kind of protections you have in place to ensure that availability of your systems will be protected. Modification, yes, that is impact on the integrity of the data. What mechanism you have in place? What is that? Encryption or something else. What security mechanism you have in place for that once you identify. The other one is fabrication. That basically, once again, is an integrity issue, inserting information in midstream, modifying that information before achieving the destination. So what mechanism you have in place? Encryption usually is something that you use for this type of attacks. Unauthorized use. What controls you have in place to manage the users are authorized or not authorized to be on that system. And system meaning operating systems, applications, so forth. Last, interception. What you have in place to avoid that unauthorized users access your information either midstream or in storage or what have you, right? What protection mechanisms you have in place to protect against interception of your information. So focusing on these outcomes, you will be protecting against several threats against your systems. So leaving a final thought here, these security assessments, security risk assessments are very good to do on a regular basis. I would say it's a must to do on a regular basis. But also keep in mind, the cybersecurity assessment is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing basis. So make sure you have that on your cybersecurity strategy and having a regular schedule to do this on a regular basis.